All right, good morning, trade pros. Welcome to our morning market update for Monday, July the 9th of 2018. This is George Papsov, Trade Pro Academy. In today's morning market update, I'm going to give you an update of all the markets overnight in the Asian session and European markets, as well as the preview of the remainder of the week for economic events and news. And we're going to talk about the Brexit secretary leaving along with some other cabinet members that just up and left together and what that means for Brexit. And last but not least, we're going to talk about Donald Trump's big decision today. And we might be able to fit in a Tesla update in there as well. So we got a lot to cover. Let's jump into it. Pull out your passport. We're going to put some stamps in the back pages. In Asia, Japan's up 1.2%, Hong Kong 1.3%, China up a whopping 2.5%, and India up 0.8%. Asian markets are off on a rocket ship this morning and to start the week. So we're getting quite a bit of a bid out there in Asia. Some of the latest numbers, rather, from China show that China's purchased more U.S. treasuries. So rather than pulling out of the treasuries, they're buying more and have increased their cash balance on their central bank sheet as well. So, it's not bad news. It's not good news. It's neutral news. But this trade war is being shrugged off by Asian markets at this point. In Europe, at midday, London's up 0.4%. Paris is up 0.6%. Frankfurt up 0.2%. So you can see European markets rally as well, but to a lesser extent. And the United States, Dow's up 0.5%. S&P's up 0.4%. And NASDAQ also up 0.4 percentage point. Crude oil market opened this morning, and the opening price of the 745 pit session opened 74.05, opening up near the overnight highs. I turn around to check that. So we're getting a bid into crude now, green on the day from the Friday close. Gold price is up 0.7 percentage point and bidding. Bitcoin flat, but hanging around 6,700, below 7,000. Still to the downside, it's bearish, but we're seeing Bitcoin in a bottoming out pattern. At some point soon, we're going to have a nice low risk, high probability opportunity to get long. Some of this money comes back into crypto markets. Today's calendar is pretty light. 9:10 a.m. in about 7 minutes. Fed's Kashkari is going to speak, one of the FOMC voting members, and you could expect to hear something about inflation, interest rate outlook, and that could have a little bit of volatility in the market. But then right after that, it dies out. At 3 p.m., we got consumer credit, slow Monday. So let's review the calendar for the rest of the week. We're off to a slow economic news start in the United States. So that's going to mean markets are going to move on technicals. So you could comfortably trade momentum and technical analysis. You don't have to worry about being sidelined or derailed by any economic news. However, keep an eye out on a news squawk or a wire, because any kind of comments out of Donald Trump, out of China, out of North Korea, it seems like North Korea, Mike Pompeo's visit to North Korea wasn't well received. That's broken down some of the talks. Any new developments are going to be repriced in. But to start the week, low news, and it looks like it's a higher market. It's bullish on low volume. So that's called thin to win in the business. We'll see how much higher this thing could press before the bears test at some key resistances overhead. All right, Tuesday, tomorrow, we got some data coming out of the UK. So if you're trading, the pound is going to be your best bet. Slow in the United States. Wednesday, we have a blockbuster day for Canadian markets. So Canadian dollar is going to be up front and center with a Bank of Canada interest rate statement and a press conference as well. So Poloz, the Bank of Canada governor, is going to be doing the same thing that Jerome Powell does for the Fed. There's going to be a lot of volatility around the Canadian dollar futures. That's 6C or CA6 on some platforms. We're going to be trading that on Wednesday. All right, and that's going to be at 10 a.m. U.S. has crude oil inventories back again on Wednesday because it's a full week. Last week it was Thursday because of the holiday. And on Thursday, July 12th, we're going to have the biggest news number of the United States for the whole week. That's going to be the core inflation, the CPI, and that's going to be very important for the Federal Reserve and future interest rates. But other than that, this week's pretty quiet out of the U.S. front. Okay, but currency traders rejoice. You're going to have a lot of opportunity in FX markets. Equity traders doesn't mean you're not going to have any opportunity, but your opportunity is going to be more based on momentum. There's no news events that's going to infuse a lot of volatility. So it could be a lower volatility week overall. All right, big news over the weekend. Brexit Secretary David Davis, the man with two first names, has left, along with junior Brexit ministers Steve Baker and Suella Braverman. All three of them have resigned which leads just 2 people on the Brexit board. The reason being is Theresa May accepted a version from Parliament of a soft Brexit, and the closer ties to the European Union, more collaboration than UK would have liked. They voted for a Brexit. They wanted to exit the Eurozone, and it looks like that's not going to be entirely what's going to happen. There's going to be closer ties, it's kind of like in between exiting the Euro and staying in it. All right, it's a midway point. It's a bit of a compromise, and that's what these ministers and Brexit employees said. No, that's not what we voted for. I'm not in anymore. I don't support this agenda. I'm out. So Theresa May, her last name is fitting, May, because she may or may not actually pull off this Brexit thing. And on that news, the pound is rallying. It's surging, obviously, because no Brexit means less uncertainty for the cable, the wire, the pound, whatever you want to call it in the FX market. All right, that's that. Up 0.4%. The UK pound is. The sterling, Marky, you're a Forex guy. Doesn't it have a lot of nicknames? The British pound? British pound, sterling, the wire, cable. Yeah, what else you got? I don't know. Yeah, the first market ever. They call it the cable because it was the first ever market to have a physical line that you could connect your proprietary company underground. It's the first one that you had a cable access to. So there you go. So it's called the cable. The wire. I'm going to call it the wire. Not to be confused with the popular series show. All right, Donald Trump today will announce his decision on a U.S. Supreme Court Justice appointee. The Federal Appeals Court judges Amy Barrett, Thomas Hardiman, and Brett Kavanaugh and Raymond Kethledge are all runner-ups. This is going to potentially tilt the balance, a more conservative judgeship. That's a word. Great. If it's not, I made one up. Trademark it. And that's going to be big news. He's going to make that announcement at some point this evening. Last but not least on this morning market update, Tesla. Boy, oh boy, Tesla's having one hell of a time at the moment. It can't get a win anywhere. Vic, did you have a short idea on Tesla? Victorio had a really good short idea, panned out. He was looking for a nice level to sell, never quite got there. It started to sell off, and that's cool. I mean, the idea was the right idea, right direction. And just sometimes, it moves too quickly. And then, yeah, he was saying it doesn't bounce around, hits, and then drops. And at the end of the day, Victorio's not a guy that only trades Tesla. Other ideas worked. This one didn't. I mean, it would have worked, but the timing wasn't great. But if you're more aggressive on Tesla, the idea was there, the signal was there, it got close. You could have started selling a little bit more aggressive. But here's the thing with Tesla. Man, they're having a hard time. There's a lot of posts on Twitter for Tesla Model 3s that are now being shipped. They hit their production quota. They're being shipped to the waiting list of people. But you see a lot of stuff on Twitter. Batteries just stopped working. A charge of 160 miles going down to 30 miles in 2 days, and the guy hadn't driven it. One guy was driving on the highway, and it said Tesla shutting down for some issues. Dealerships holding on to cars and not fixing them, trims that are leaking, windshields that are not placed properly. Like, pardon my language, this is a family show. Don't get offended on this. But I feel like Elon Musk said, you know what? We're going to do quantity over quality. We're going to ship 5,000 units, even if all of them are shit. And that's what's happened because there's a lot of leakages in areas of the car, seals that are off, just a whole bunch of trouble. And Tesla can't catch a break on this thing. In addition to this, Model S and X prices are going up by 20% in China. And the reason being it's blamed on the tariff that's been imposed, and Tesla just had to raise their prices. People don't understand that the companies don't suffer because of the tariff. They suffer because of low sales, because the company will say, if I have a tariff of 20%, I'm going to pass that on to the consumer. They'll just pay me 20% more. Yeah, but not many people will pay you 20% more because the consumer has to shoulder that price. How much do they have in their market? Well, Tesla doubled sales in 2017 to $2 billion in China. It's been a very important market for them. That's equivalent to 20,000 vehicles being sold. So this is trouble for Tesla, and I'm sure on this morning's market open, you're going to see Tesla start to get pushed lower. This is bearish news. Elon Musk can't catch a break. The guy's having breakdowns on social media. I hope the best for him. I hope the best for the company. Right now, though, the bears have got the torch, and they're hitting this thing. If you're short, keep riding the short. If you haven't been short yet, be careful getting in near the lows. And if you're looking to buy this thing, that's a hard no. Wait, the time is not now to be buying Tesla. There's a lot of people say, well, it's cheaper. Why don't I just buy it now? Well, that's a bias. Go look at a company like Enron. Go buy it while it was cheaper. See what happens on your back test. Look at a company like Nortel Networks, WorldCom, any of those companies that no longer exist. Any company that currently exists, buying lows and averaging in and martingaling is going to work. But remember this, there are less companies that exist today and more companies that have died exponentially in the past. All right, so just because it exists doesn't mean that it's a good thing to buy on the dip. So if you're looking to buy Tesla, be patient. We'll give you guys a little bit of a heads up. The time is not yet. Much bigger piece on Tesla than I wanted to do, but I got into it. What could I do? I got a lot of coffee this morning, went to the gym, energetic. Had to throw it at something. You guys have yourself a great day. Thank you for tuning in. If you like this, comment, share, subscribe, tell your friends about it. And when you do subscribe, hit the little bell button because then you get notifications every morning that we're live. We do this every morning at 9 a.m. And we get you guys prepared for the trading day. I hope you feel that way. Have yourself a great day. Manage your risk. Trade like a trade pro. I'll see you tomorrow morning. Take care. Goodbye. Okay, trade pros in the room. Let's get down to business. I'm going to set some levels for you guys, give you some trade ideas. Thank you, Marky.